champions of USA versus the world team. From left to right, you've got Jesper Svensson, Captain Jason Belmonte, Sam Cooley, and Dom Barrett.
Jason, you described your team as the underdogs coming in, and you took home a 12-2 dominating victory. What about you guys was able to accomplish that?
Look, I think we hung in there, and we made some really big shots when we either needed to make a bit of a comeback or just grow the lead enough. I also think the three of these boys performed really well. I definitely underperformed, and they held up the anchor that was dragging them back a little bit today. But that's one of the things that you can afford to do in a team environment is, if one of the boys at any stage throughout the day isn't performing great, you can rally behind that person and lift them up, and that's exactly what these guys did for me today.
Before we get into the depth of what happened over here, just describe the growth of the international game that you have seen over the last 5, 10, 20 years. So we'll start with Jason and then whoever else wants to chime in.
Yeah, I think it's not just the growth. I think it's also the talent that has grown with it. I was fortunate enough to play through the Asian Tour, the European Tour in my amateur days. And when you look at the players that are on tour now, that are coming out, in their last, let's say the last few years for the new rookies that have come out over here, they're just so much better than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I think that's a testament to the game itself that's growing, that, the PBA Tour is the place that we all want to get to, and the inspiration for these international players is there to want to perform, get better, learn. And now we're seeing that with the talent level that we are bringing. And I love it. I love the fact that the game is so global and that it's not just a USA-dominated sport, that the rest of the world can compete.
All right, we'll go to Dom. Actually been around the world for a while there. You want to chime in on that?
Yeah, it's great. Even just the talent levels that you see just in the States, bowling on tour, the young guys and the girls that bowl now, they come out on tour and they're not scared of winning, not scared of mixing up with us, and that does go around the whole world as well. You see, I went to Malaysia last year, and some of the just the last couple of years, even with COVID, when they were practicing behind closed doors, I don't even know who half these young guys are, and they throw it so good and they bowl so well, and that really does go around the whole world now. It's fantastic to see and very proud to represent them.
All right, for you guys, Sam, you just bowled with Jason in the World Cup in Australia. How did that team experience help you guys this week?
It was very similar. The communication and the formats were very much the same. We did a whole round of Baker teams. I think it was like 15 or 16 games, but instead of how it was here, where it was best of two, you had to play every country. So having that experience alongside Jace, as well as the other two guys we had, was very pivotal to the success we have here, because we had so much communication, and as a team we're all obviously really good at what we do, and we don't lack any kind of commitment when it comes to making adjustments or making good shots when we need to. We're all not afraid of it.
You have tons of World Cup, Lever Cup experience as well. Do you think that helped you out this week?
Yeah, definitely. Yesterday was singles, and everybody knows how to compete at their own, and that really worked for us as well by the communication sort of starting off there, but then having the singles and manage to win all those matches put us into such a great position today. And then today was really obviously team orientated, 2 sets of doubles, but we're going to be building towards a Baker match that turned out to be very important. And I've bowled so many of those Bakers where they're not the 250 think they're going to be, because you change lanes, you have to wait, you're communicating, you don't get a real good feel of the lanes. But the fact that you can communicate every shot really helps you stay in a good rhythm and gives you a really clear picture of what you need to do on the lanes to try and hit the pocket and make your spares. And I think we did a really good job of that over the whole event as a team, and I'm sure that's why we're sat here now.
Yeah, I think one big reason why you guys sit here right now is that guy over there struck a ton these last 2 days. Even as the scores went down a bit today, he threw 7 for 7 in that first match to beat EJ and Simon. What were you able to find out there this week?
I mean, to me, so yesterday it was more like, get a feel for the lanes and try to kind of go with your first thought a little bit in that singles match, and then got the evening to kind of think about how I can make that even better, and came out today with just similar game plan, but just a little different bowling ball. Worked out just perfect. And for me, I feel like in team events, for me, especially now when I was the only lefty on the team, my job is to just step on the gas and try to throw as many strikes as I can, because I'm not going to be a very good asset as far as moves for the right-handed guys. So how I'm the most beneficial to the team, I feel like just throw them strikes, and that's what I try to do. And then all I can tell them is, hey, make sure you throw a good shot, hey, get a good shot, and then go from there kind of. And I know that I got all the respect in the world for these guys, and I know that they know their moves, and they're communicating about small changes that they got to make, while I just have to worry about my own thing on the left side and try to help the team as best as I can that way.
Jason, he was your captain's pick a few weeks ago. How great did you feel about that pick in hindsight?
Yeah, look, for me, it wasn't. It really wasn't a difficult choice. Out here on tour, week to week, frame by frame, game by game, the transitions, the lane patterns. Obviously, on the left side of the lane, it can start to get a little tricky week to week. But I always know that when it's TV time, and I want someone on the left side of the lane on my team, there's only one guy that I want on that team, and that's always going to be this kid. And he showed it again today and yesterday. Just, when it's time to step up, hit what he's looking at, and get to the pocket, he does it a lot. And so that choice for me was a no-brainer. He could have been sitting last in the rankings, legitimately last, and I would have said to him, hey, I need you to step up one more time on TV for the world team. And so it's always nice when you've got a little ace in your pocket, knowing that you've got someone with that kind of capability on TV.
When the strikes stopped in the beginning of that Baker match, lots of spares to shoot at, everybody missed a couple. What did you guys say to each other to keep your spirits up?
Yeah, it was just positive reinforcement. I'm going to die not knowing how to shoot the 3-6-10. I've tried it 63 different ways, and I know how to miss it 63 different times. So I got to figure that one out. But as soon as I missed it, we made a comment as a group that no matter how the beginning of the game went, whoever threw the best shots down the stretch was going to win. If it's them or it's us, that team is going to win. And so to watch, Jesper and Sam get that late double, and then Dom kept it clean with the 4-pin, it was up to them now to get those 4 or 5 great shots in a row, and they couldn't make that happen. And so once I got that strike in the 9th, which was essentially the 5 shots at the end of the game that were really good, well, we struck 4 out of the 5, and that ultimately was the difference between winning and losing. So as a team, even though we had an open, even though it wasn't feeling great, we knew one good shot each, game is over. And that's what we did. Stepped up there and did it.
A couple of you bowled Weber Cup, a couple of you bowled World Cup. You were at home for the World Cup. Obviously, the crowd can be a big factor in tournaments, and let me get in trouble for saying this as an American, but it seemed like the U.S. crowd just kind of let you guys keep getting in there. Mistakes were made. They weren't kind of getting on you. They were up on the U.S. people as much. Do you think the crowd kept you guys in the match in a couple of spots where it could have easily tied turn, and we could have left 2-2 yesterday and into the team match almost even?
Look, I don't think the crowd. I don't think it was the crowd.
Okay.
The crowd was very generous to us. They were very heavy on the US team. So it definitely wasn't like a swing. We weren't drawing the crowd onto our side. They were just super respectful to us and super kind. I think what made it hard for them to get further into the match was the US couldn't string those strikes together. Let me tell you, if there was a 3 or a 4 bagger there at the end, they would have lifted the roof off of this place. It just didn't happen because the performance wasn't there for them to do it.
All right, Sam, you wanted TJ yesterday. You told Jason probably a few weeks ago that that's the guy you wanted. You took him down, got him in the doubles match again today. Why was that matchup so important?
Honestly, I think I recall when we talked about the lineups, I would have really loved to bowl someone I looked up to, but at the same time, I wasn't going to be too bothered who I was going to play, and it kind of worked out that I got to bowl Tommy, and just to share that kind of moment with someone who essentially is the reason I'm sitting here. It's a very surreal feeling to play against someone who you've looked up to for a long time, respected for a very long time, and you had the chance to win. Not many people in any kind of sport can say that they've managed to beat someone they've looked up to their entire life. And as for the doubles, it was very much the same. Me and Dom had great communication throughout that match, and the breaks went our way.
I'm interested in how pivotal the lane choice seemed to be for you guys, having that advantage, forcing them to finish on the right lane throughout the weekend. So we'll start with Dom. What did you notice on the right lane and the left lane, the differences there?
Well, yeah, we just come off the doubles and we had to pick the lane for the Baker, and it was a really tough choice. And straight out of the heat of the battle, we were ready to bowl on the right lane. And Belmo slowed us down and said, listen, the left lane gets worse, the right lane's going to get better. Even though he just bowled in there, and that was the lane we struggled on. It's kind of why we wanted to get out of the way. It was a great call by Belmo by saying, let's go and bowl on the good lane that's going to get worse, and then the other lane will get better. And that's exactly what appeared to happen as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the experience of bowling on that pair. The left lane can get a little funky at times, and the right lane, whilst it isn't necessarily super easy, I think it's just a little bit more consistent. When you see something happen to your ball motion, the move on that lane is more traditional. It's easier to throw that move. Where the left lane, you probably have to be just a little bit trickier. And I figured, listen, if it's going to come down to making moves and throwing shots, I'd rather us just be like, hey, just make an easy 2-on-1 move, rather than like, yeah, let's move 5 left, gear down, get your hand around it more. Like, no, let's just make a more traditional move. And yeah, late in the game, they hit some of that yuckiness on that left lane. They caught a few splits. We had the better choice in just a little bit more blended of a lane.
Did you anticipate that lane choice being such a big factor even before the Howler House match that was decided?
Yeah, I actually didn't know the ruling. I didn't know what the Holler House match meant. As far as I was aware, it was only to be, because I wasn't told, the lineups. And then I didn't know how the orders were going to change. I had no idea. And so when Tom told me at the end of the match, we'd taken photos, he said, all right, now, these are the benefits. That was a huge win in the end, because on that TV pair, having the choice to start and finish on lanes where the patterns and the lane play and you can see the future a little bit, that's a big move. Yeah, it was a big win.
Jesper, you got some bragging rights over your roommate for a little bit here now. What did it mean to you to bowl against him on that stage yesterday, and now you got the win?
So, I mean, it's really nothing new that I have bragging right. He never beat me, so I got that 52 weeks a year. But, it just feels good to every time I extend it a little bit more. But yeah, all jokes aside, it's it's a great guy and really fun to finally get to bowl against him here, and he always seems to find ways to find a little but now we're gonna bowl in America, now I'm gonna beat you because now we're not bowling in the Weber Cup anymore, or but then just I took another reason for him to win. I took another one down, so he's running out of options now. So it's going to be interesting to see how long he's going to try to make up excuses for losing. But it was a very fun match, and we had dinner on the line, so I really enjoyed a nice dinner last night. So maybe that's what set me up for such a good day today. So thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it.
And probably just quickly as well, lots of respect for those guys. They're the best in the world, apart from Belmo. But they, consistently bowling well year in, year out. Tommy's had a fantastic career, and I'm sure he's going to find another way to. He'll come back, and it's not, he struggled this year, but he'll be back again. But getting on the lanes against those guys, Weber Cup or here or wherever else, is always an honour. It's great watching them bowl too. But going back to the crowd, we said before, we had experiences in Vegas in the Weber Cup where we lost, and it's miserable when the crowd's on. So they have to come to Europe often for the Weber Cup, and we always have the crowd on our side, and it's very similar where there's lots of respect from the crowd to everybody. But it's always great getting on the lanes with those guys in a team environment, and for some reason, being international or from Europe, wherever we're doing, we always seem to find a way to get our bond together a little bit quicker with good results. I'm glad that we do it. I'm not sure why that happens, but I'm glad it does, and hopefully it keeps going our way.
It's been a while since we've had USA versus the world as part of the tour season. What kind of value do you see having that as part of the World Series and the tour at large?
Yeah, I think it does create a storyline for a little rivalry amongst the internationals and the US players. I think it's a great spectacle for the fans because it's it's a representation of this country and the whole world, and it just gives you a little bit more of an increased level. Like in soccer or football, playing at the international level, it's just, as a spectator, you can rally your whole country behind that football team. And as individuals, we all have our individual fan bases that want to see us do well. But today, we had the globe. Didn't matter where you were from, except for the US, but everywhere else was like, hey, we want them to win. And so that step up in that level of competition into the international stuff, it's special, and I think it's great that we have this opportunity that the PBA brought it back, and I hope it continues to stay.
Should the World Series come back to Bolero Wauwatosa next year and beyond?
That is none of our call, I believe.
Yeah, that's
So
the
we
PBS.
just
They
have
make
to
that decision. We
wait and
bowl
see.
wherever they schedule us to.
I don't mind it here. I know there's been a few issues to the World Series. We can address it if you want, but I think the bowling centre's come a long way from when we were here last time, and I'm sure it's going to continue to improve. And hopefully, some of the lane conditions potentially could have had a bit more oil in them, especially when they changed the format late on. But things that we learned from, and I really like that across from the parking lot where I'm going in a minute is a really nice Indian restaurant. So I always enjoy that, and a good Irish pub that I know as well.
You believe me, if I had my choice, there'd be like a handful of places I'd like to go just because my ball strikes there more than anywhere else.
Reno.
Yeah. Reno. Yeah, you like Reno.
All year round. We should just go there.
All right, gentlemen.
All right, thanks
Thanks for
fellas.
your time. Have a great evening, and we'll see you from the World Series of Bowling the rest of this week on Fox and Fox Sports 1.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.